If you happen to search the words how to start a business on YouTube, you'll probably see that about 90% of those results are going to be geared towards the 22, the 25-year-olds who are willing to live on ramen and work 18 hours a day and will honestly take a lot of really big risks in their life because they don't have things like kids or a mortgage or, if we're going to be honest, 10 plus years of burnout to untangle. But what happens when you're starting an online business in your 40s? Things like the math changes, the risks change, and honestly, your stamina changes for sure. So today I want to talk about what it actually looks like to be in your 40s and build a solo service business. This isn't about the hustle culture or, the highlight reel for social media. It's gonna be what it actually looks like to build a solo business based on sustainable and systems-driven realities. One of the top questions that people ask at this stage of life is, how do I do this safely and without completely blowing up my life? When you're younger, failure feels like a badge of honor, but when you're in your 40s, it feels completely different. One of the things that I've realized is the secret isn't just jumping in blindly, it's building in the margin. And what I mean by that is you don't have to quit everything to launch your business. The biggest thing is learning how to leverage your decades of skills and experience in things like project management, communications, problem solving, and be able to package those into something that is valuable for the people that you want to serve. When I started my online services business, I knew it wasn't going to be some quick get rich type of endeavor. And because I'm in my 40s, I really wanted to focus on building a business that was predictable, that had systems and a proper foundation behind it so that it didn't have to consume my entire life. So this brings us to the biggest hurdle, which is time. Especially if you're like me, working a full-time job, you don't have 80 hours every week to devote to your business. And so what it comes down to is really finding the correct foundation and infrastructure that will help you automate as much as possible and then utilize your skills and your abilities in the best way possible. If you want to survive as a solo founder right now, your superpower has to be architecture and unfortunately not effort. One of the things that I've really tried to do is bootstrap my way into this business because I don't have a lot of time and I don't have a lot of money. That's another contributing factor to all of this, is being able to create your business foundation and the infrastructure in such a way that you're not spending a ton of money, but you're also able to automate and systematize everything in the background so that you're not running chaos every day. One of the big things that I've tried to focus on over this last 6 months as I've been building my business is making sure that everything is, standard and repeatable and is as simple as possible. That's one of the ways that I'm trying to prevent it from basically becoming just another exhaustive, side hustle or second job. So especially nowadays, the other hurdle is visibility and social media. It's so easy to look at, Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. And especially if you're in your 40s, you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to get on and dance and make a fool of myself in front of people. But one of the great things is right now, so many people are starting to get tired of that. People are starting to get exhausted from that sort of transactional feel of social media, and they're starting to look for real people. So the real people with real purpose, and especially behind a real business. Luckily, the market is shifting heavily towards more heart-led and relationship-focused businesses, which is an amazing thing and means it's a great time to jump in to the online landscape if that's something that you want to do. People are tired of the junk and they're really starting to look for people who actually know what they're doing, that have the years of experience to back up the things that they are selling and the services that they're providing. And although it may seem or feel like you have to have all of these different programs and systems and technology in order to run your business right in this day and age, you just really need a few simple programs to use that you are willing to learn and maybe you already know, and a willingness to show up and be authentic in the world. What's really cool is your age is not a liability at all. And if anything, it is a huge advantage in the business marketplace right now because you have the skills and knowledge and perspective that a 20-something simply just cannot replicate in any way. So the way that I see it right now is, if you are like me and you are rebuilding your life and building a business in your 40s, it's not going to be about chasing trends. I just can't do that. I don't have the bandwidth and the mind capacity to do that right now. And I bet you probably don't either. It's about designing a life that actually fits who you are and who you want to be. So if you're in the middle of building a new business or just researching and trying to figure out what your next move is going to be, definitely drop a comment. I'm curious to see what people are working on, their ideas, and how they feel about starting a business midlife.